Most people believe aging is something that simply happens to you. That one morning you wake up, look in the mirror, and your body has quietly decided to slow down. But after more than 30 years in medicine, I can tell you that is not how it works. Aging is not random. It is not equal. And in many cases, it is not as inevitable as we have been led to believe. I have seen two people the same age, 70, 75, even 80 years old. One walks through the park every morning, cooks their own meals, drives to the grocery store, laughs easily. The other struggles to get out of bed, depends on others for basic tasks, and feels like their world is shrinking. Same generation, same country, completely different bodies. What separates them is rarely luck. It is rarely genetics alone. More often, it is a handful of daily habits. Small, ordinary patterns repeated for decades. The kind most people never question. Today on Stoicism Breath, I want to walk you through 5 of those silent habits. 5 patterns that may be quietly shaving years off your life right now. And then I will share simple actions you can begin as soon as tomorrow to push back. Some of this may surprise you. Some of it may make you uncomfortable. That is a good sign. It means it matters. A geriatric specialist once told me something I have never forgotten. He said he could often estimate how long a patient had left just by watching them walk through the door. Not by looking at lab results, not by scanning their medical chart, but by observing their gait, their balance, their posture, their confidence. In geriatric medicine, mobility is one of the strongest predictors of survival. Mobility is not just about strong legs. It is a window into how your heart, brain, muscles, and nervous system are functioning together. And one of the fastest ways to destroy mobility is something that feels harmless: sitting. A large study in San Diego followed thousands of older women and found that those who sat more than 11.5 hours a day had a 30% higher risk of death, regardless of how much they exercised. Think about that. Even if they took a morning walk, if they spent the rest of the day sitting, their risk remained elevated. Why does this happen? Because your body does not operate on averages. It responds to what you are doing right now. When you sit still for more than 30 minutes without interruption, a chain reaction begins. Blood pools in your lower body. Blood sugar rises. Oxygen delivery to your brain decreases. Inflammation begins to build. Researchers publishing in the Annals of Internal Medicine confirmed that it is not just how long you sit in total, but how long you sit without breaking it up. 30 unbroken minutes appears to be a critical threshold. Many people believe that 1 hour at the gym cancels out the rest of the day. But a 1-hour walk in the morning does not undo 11 hours in a chair. That is like eating a healthy salad for lunch and then drinking poison at dinner. The body does not forget. The real solution is interruption. Every 30 minutes, stand up. Walk to the kitchen. Stretch your arms overhead. Roll your ankles. 2 minutes is enough to reset blood flow, activate your muscles, and send oxygen back to your brain. It is simple, but powerful. And there is one more important piece. Walking alone is not enough to protect your muscles as you age. Walking is excellent for your heart and lungs, but your muscles need resistance. They need something to push against. Stand up from a chair 10 times in a row. Press your palms firmly against a wall. Carry your own groceries instead of using a cart whenever it is safe to do so. Muscles are meant to be challenged, not just transported from place to place. Sitting too long without interruption is habit number 1. It may feel normal in modern life, but normal does not mean healthy. Small breaks, repeated daily, can protect your mobility, your independence, and ultimately your lifespan. Now I want to talk about something that may feel uncomfortable, especially if you or someone you love takes several prescriptions every day. I am not telling anyone to stop their medication. What I am saying is this. Taking too many medications without regular review can quietly become more dangerous than the conditions they were meant to treat. There is a term for this: polypharmacy. It simply means using 5 or more medications at the same time. Among adults over 75 in the United States, nearly half fall into this category. A study published in February 2026 in PLOS 1 followed 977 patients over the age of 75. Those taking 5 or more medications had a 2.4 times higher risk of death within 1 year and a 1.6 times higher risk over 5 years. Their risk of hospitalization was 2.5 times higher. How does this happen? Not because doctors are careless, but because modern medicine is specialized. A cardiologist prescribes something for blood pressure. An endocrinologist adds a medication for diabetes. A rheumatologist prescribes an anti-inflammatory. Each medication solves a specific problem, but often no one steps back to look at how all of them interact together inside one aging body. One pill lowers blood pressure. Another causes dizziness. A third affects vision. Combined, they increase the risk of falling. And after 70, a fall is not a small event. It can trigger a hip fracture, surgery, immobility, pneumonia, and a rapid decline that is difficult to reverse. Many medications also deplete key nutrients without you realizing it. Cholesterol-lowering drugs can reduce CoQ10 levels, which affects muscle energy. Diuretics flush out potassium and magnesium, minerals your heart and muscles depend on. Acid-blocking medications can reduce absorption of calcium, iron, and vitamin B12. The result can be fatigue, weakness, brain fog. And too often, those symptoms are treated with another prescription. The cycle deepens. So what can you do? Once a year, gather every medication you take. Prescriptions, over-the-counter pills, supplements. Put them all in a bag and bring them to your doctor or pharmacist. Ask one simple question for each item. Is this still necessary? The healthiest adults over 70 that I have seen tend to follow one quiet rule: minimum pills, maximum lifestyle. Now let me share another number that should make you pause. A 2025 meta-analysis reviewing 79 cohort studies found that sleeping less than 7 hours per night increases mortality risk by 14%. Sleeping more than 9 hours increases it by 34%. Sleep is not just rest. It is active repair. While you sleep, your brain clears toxic amyloid proteins through the lymphatic system, the same proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. Your immune system produces cells to fight infection. Your blood pressure drops so your heart can recover. Muscles rebuild. Hormones rebalance. Even one night of poor sleep can disrupt this process. A 2025 study in the Journal of Immunology showed that a single day of sleep deprivation altered immune cell behavior in healthy adults. In older adults, whose immune systems are already more fragile, the impact is even greater. Chronic sleep deprivation raises blood pressure, increases inflammation, destabilizes blood sugar, and accelerates shortening of telomeres, the protective caps on your chromosomes that mark biological aging. Sleeping less does not just make you feel older. It makes your cells older. And yet so many adults over 60 treat sleep as optional. They stay up late watching television. They scroll through their phones in bed. They tell themselves they will catch up on the weekend. But sleep debt does not work like money. You cannot repay it all at once. Your body needs rhythm and consistency. The solution is not complicated. It is disciplined. Go to bed at the same time every night, including weekends. Turn off screens at least 1 hour before bed. Keep your room cool, dark, and quiet. If you wake up during the night, resist the urge to grab your phone. Stay still. Breathe slowly. Let your nervous system settle. After just 2 or 3 nights of consistent 7 to 8 hours sleep, most people notice clearer thinking, steadier mood, and more energy during the day. Sleep is not wasted time. It is the biological foundation everything else depends on. On Stoicism Breath, we focus on strength that lasts. And real strength begins with protecting your body at the most basic level. Sleep is the foundation, but hydration is the structure built on top of it. And this next habit is so simple that most people overlook it completely. It hides in plain sight. Many adults over 60 are not drinking enough water, and they do not even realize it. As we age, the thirst signal weakens. The part of your brain that tells you I am thirsty becomes less sensitive. That means you can be significantly dehydrated and still feel normal. No dry mouth. No dramatic warning signs. Just subtle strain building up inside your body. The National Institutes of Health followed more than 11,000 adults for 25 years in a large study. Researchers found that people with signs of chronic underhydration, defined as slightly elevated serum sodium levels above 142, were biologically older than their actual age. They developed 39% more chronic diseases, including heart failure, dementia, diabetes, and stroke. Their risk of early death was 21% higher. Think about that. Not because of a rare condition, not because of a genetic disorder, but because of something as basic as water. When your body lacks water, your blood becomes thicker. Your heart has to pump harder to move it. Your kidneys struggle to filter waste. Over time, kidney function can quietly decline, often without obvious symptoms until the damage is advanced. Your brain, which is made up of more than 70% water, slows down. Studies show that dehydrated older adults can perform cognitively like someone 10 years older. And then there are your joints. Cartilage is mostly water. Without proper hydration, it dries out. Friction increases. Inflammation rises. Pain worsens, especially for those already dealing with arthritis. You may think your body is simply aging, when in reality it is undersupplied. The solution is simple, but it requires intention. Start your morning with a full glass of water before coffee. Keep a bottle within reach throughout the day. Do not wait until you feel thirsty. By the time thirst appears, you are already behind. If plain water feels boring, add lemon or cucumber. Eat water-rich foods like watermelon, cucumbers, soups, and broths. And pay attention to your urine color. Light yellow means you are on track. Dark yellow is your body asking for help. You do not need extremes. You do not need to flood your system. You just need steady consistency. Staying slightly ahead of dehydration every day is one of the quietest ways to protect your heart, brain, and joints. Now let us talk about the final habit, and this one surprises people. Stress is not just something that happens to you. It is something you practice through your reactions every single day. A Finnish study found that chronic stress shortens life expectancy by about 2.8 years. That may not sound dramatic compared to other statistics, but stress is different. It multiplies every other risk. When you are stressed, you eat more processed food. You skip movement. You sleep poorly. You withdraw from others. Stress pushes you toward every other unhealthy habit. The key player is cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol is helpful. It sharpens focus and boosts energy. But when cortisol remains elevated for months or years, it becomes destructive. It suppresses your immune system. It raises blood sugar. It increases inflammation. It breaks down muscle tissue. It accelerates telomere shortening, the same biological aging marker affected by poor sleep. Researchers at the University of Southern California found that social stress, loneliness, financial strain, caregiving pressure, and grief directly accelerate immune aging. Your defense system begins to function like that of someone much older. For many older adults, stress is invisible because it is constant. It is the background noise of worrying about health, money, independence, or becoming a burden. No single crisis. Just a low hum of tension that never fully turns off. The goal is not to eliminate stress. That is impossible. The goal is to train your nervous system to recover, to create daily moments of reset. A slow walk outside. A phone call with a friend. 5 minutes of deep breathing. Quiet prayer or reflection. Small rituals that tell your body you are safe. On Stoicism Breath, we believe strength is not about pushing harder. It is about recovering better. Drink enough water. Guard your sleep. Review your medications. And treat stress management as a daily practice, not an afterthought. These habits are simple. But practiced consistently, they change the trajectory of how you age. You do not need a dramatic life overhaul to lower stress. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as a 10-minute walk around your neighborhood, a real conversation with someone you trust, a hobby that pulls your full attention into the present moment. Even 2 minutes of slow, deep breathing has been shown to measurably lower cortisol levels. You do not have to fix your entire life. You just have to give your body permission to stop fighting it, even for a few minutes a day. If you have someone you love over 60, share this message with them not as a warning, but as a gift. Because understanding these 5 habits can reshape the next decade of their life. Prolonged sitting. Taking too many medications without review. Sleeping too little. Drinking too little water. Living under constant stress. These are quiet patterns, but together they shape how we age. Now here on Stoicism Breath, I promise you practical action. Not theory. Not motivation that fades tomorrow. 3 simple things you can begin immediately. These are small daily acts of resistance against decline. And each one targets multiple risks at the same time. The first is about how you eat, not which trendy diet you follow. Not which supplement is popular this month. Just one clear rule. Include a palm-sized portion of protein at every meal: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. After 60, your body becomes less efficient at converting protein into muscle. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. In simple terms, the same meal that maintained muscle at 30 is no longer enough at 65. Research shows you may need 20 to 30% more protein just to preserve what you already have. A nationwide nutrition survey in South Korea found that half of elderly men and nearly 2/3 of elderly women were protein deficient. Similar patterns appear across many countries, including the United States. As people age, they often reduce meat, fish, dairy, sometimes because of cost, sometimes digestion, sometimes fear of cholesterol. But protein is not just about muscle. 30% of your bone structure is collagen, which is a protein. Your immune antibodies are built from protein. Hormones like insulin, serotonin, and melatonin depend on adequate protein intake. When protein drops, strength drops. Immunity drops. Recovery slows. And here is the part most people miss. Your body cannot store protein the way it stores fat or carbohydrates. If you eat most of your protein at dinner, which is common, your body can only use a portion of it for muscle repair. The rest is oxidized for energy. But when you spread protein evenly across 3 meals, muscle protein synthesis improves by 20 to 30%. So tomorrow morning, add 2 eggs, a cup of Greek yogurt, or a handful of nuts. At lunch, include chicken, fish, beans, or tofu. At dinner, continue your usual portion. The power is not only in the total amount, it is in the distribution. The second habit takes 2 minutes and costs nothing. Every 30 minutes, stand up. That is it. Stand, stretch, walk a few steps, then sit back down and reset the clock. Prolonged sitting is one of the strongest predictors of early decline. When you stand, you restore blood flow. You activate dormant muscles. You help pull glucose out of your bloodstream. You send oxygen back to your brain. A Brazilian study that followed more than 300 older adults for 5 years found that replacing just 10 minutes of sitting with light activity reduced mortality risk by 30%. Replacing 60 minutes reduced the risk by 78%. Not intense workouts. Not gym memberships. Just movement. You can attach this habit to routines you already have. Stand during television commercials. Stand when you answer a phone call. Walk to the kitchen each time you refill your water bottle, which also reinforces proper hydration. 2 habits addressed in one simple action. The Annals of Internal Medicine reported something powerful. People who sat for the same total number of hours, but broke that time into shorter segments, had significantly lower mortality risk than those who sat in long, unbroken stretches. It is not only how long you sit, it is how often you interrupt it. Small actions. Repeated daily. On Stoicism Breath, the message is clear. Aging well is not about extremes. It is about consistent, intelligent resistance against the habits that quietly pull you toward decline. It is not only about how many hours you sit each day. It is about how long you sit without interruption. A geriatric researcher once joked about the absurdity of modern life. We drive to the gym, take the elevator upstairs, then spend 30 minutes on a stair machine. The stairs were there all along. The walk was already built into the day. We simply engineered movement out of our lives. The truth is, you do not need a complicated program or expensive equipment. You need a simple timer. Set an alarm every 30 minutes. When it rings, stand up. Stretch your arms. Roll your shoulders. Walk a few steps. Then sit back down and reset the clock. After 1 week, your body begins to expect that rhythm. After 1 month, sitting too long without moving will start to feel unnatural. Bring movement back not as exercise, but as part of daily living. That small shift changes circulation, blood sugar control, joint stiffness, even mental clarity. Now let me give you the third habit, and this one happens at the end of your day. I call it the 10-minute reset. It quietly targets 4 of the 5 risks we discussed. About 1 hour before bed, You do 3 simple actions in the same order every night. First, drink 1 full glass of water. Not because you feel thirsty. In fact, you probably will not. That is the problem. As we age, the thirst signal weakens. Do not wait for it. This 1 glass supports your kidneys through the night and prevents your blood from becoming too concentrated while you sleep. Dehydration addressed in less than a minute. Second, look at your medications for tomorrow. Open your pill organizer and glance at each one. Ask yourself 2 questions. Do I know exactly what this is for? When was the last time my doctor reviewed it? If you cannot answer both, write it down and bring it to your next appointment. This 5-second habit has helped many people gradually eliminate medications that were no longer necessary. Not by guessing, by reviewing. Polypharmacy begins to shrink when awareness grows. Third, place your phone in another room. Not face down. Not on silent beside your bed. In another room entirely. The blue light from your screen suppresses melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep naturally. But more than that, your phone keeps your mind alert. News alerts, messages, comparisons, worries. Your brain cannot enter deep rest while it is still consuming information. Removing the phone protects your sleep and lowers late-night stress. 3 actions. Water. Medication check. Phone away. Less than 10 minutes total. No one will celebrate it. No one will post about it. But this quiet routine touches dehydration, medication overload, sleep deprivation, and chronic stress all at once. This idea did not come from theory alone. It came from noticing a pattern. Every difficult morning could be traced back to something done or ignored the night before. The body you wake up in tomorrow is being shaped tonight. You do not need to redesign your entire life. You need to guard your final 10 minutes before bed. If you are still listening, it means you care about living well. And here on Stoicism Breath, that is the mission. Not living forever. Living with strength and clarity for as long as possible. There is an ongoing study at Scripps Research in California led by geneticist Eric Topol. He has been studying what he calls superagers, people in their 80s and 90s who remain free of major chronic disease and cognitive decline. What surprised researchers was this: there was no single longevity gene that explained their success. They did not share a magical genetic advantage. What they shared were patterns. They moved throughout the day. They ate simply and consistently. They slept well. They maintained social connection. They paid attention to their bodies, not obsessively, but with steady respect. The 5 risks discussed today are not a prediction of your future. They are a mirror. And the 3 daily habits offered are not a miracle cure. They are a direction. You do not have to change everything. You just have to change something. And the best time to begin is not next month or next year. It is tonight. Put your phone in another room. Drink a glass of water. Stand up a little more tomorrow. Because the goal was never to live forever. The goal is to live well. And that choice is built in small moments, repeated daily. I will see you in the next video on Stoicism Breath.